Welcome to Hate to Wait, where two lifelong dieters talk about their current struggles with weight loss. Diets, we've tried them all. We are not doctors. We don't play them on TV or on this podcast. Join our journey because misery loves company.
Hello, Emily.
Hello, John. I just realized I have no water.
Oh, no. How does that happen? How do you podcast without water?
I was running to get to this episode. As you well know, I gave you a little message before the show, and I was like, I'm running a bit late, and I forgot to grab water. Oh, there's water right over here, so I'll grab that. Cut this out. Cut this out, future John.
Why don't I vamp some more?
You are a good vamper. I haven't watched yet, but I have a feeling you're a good vamper.
I don't know.
But you work well off of other people.
I'm more of a, yes, I do like to work off of other people more than I like to I can't monologue. I don't know what it is. My mind goes, in my mind, it's like, what are you going to say next? I don't know.
But at least we have a lovely chat room that I saw you were conversing with.
Yeah, we have a bunch of people in here, and they are very, very chatty. And it's funny because we have Annette in here, and she's from England. So she's, it's like 5 hours. She's 5 hours ahead of us in the future.
Happy tea time. I'm sure it's past tea time.
And then we have Adam, and he is 3 hours or 2. I don't know. He's in Arizona, so they might not do daylight savings time. So that gets all screwed up. So it's either 3 hours or 2 hours behind us.
He's on Pacific time at this point, I'm pretty sure. So he's 3 hours behind us. So it's early for him. Yeah. We have people coming into our chat room. We're live Thursdays, 11 o'clock Eastern. Sometimes 11:05 because I'm late. And we're in our Facebook group, the Hate to Wait discussion group. So we'd love it if you would join us.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So how was your week?
It was interesting. I discovered, this is ridiculous that this is the diet highlight of my week, I guess. It's not even a highlight. I discovered a kind of Oreo that I love. I haven't been a huge Oreo fan, because they're just too big for me. They're too big. There's too much of just everything in them. So like the people who love the double stuffed, I'm just like, that's way too much. But they now make Oreo thins. And they are the most light and crispy, delicious thing. I love this cookie. And not only that, but I found them in lemon flavor. It's like a little thin piece of lemon meringue pie in a cookie form. And the cookie is half the size of a regular Oreo. So it's so easy for me to reach in and grab two and be like, it's okay. This only counts as like one Oreo. Meanwhile, I've grabbed 8 or 9 or 10. And I'm pretty sure that is why I've been running to the bathroom so often.
Oreos?
So I gotta finish this container of Oreo thins.
Well, okay, I didn't know Oreos would make you do that. Although, I don't know if you know this. I don't know. I don't really brag about this, but I am the podcast Oreo eating champion.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yes, I was 10 Oreos in a minute. So no one has bested me yet in the podcasting world. And I don't remember afterward. And the thing about it was I practiced before. I bought 2 things of Oreo cookies for this. 2, not just 1, 2. So I was kind of trying to practice it. So when I got done, I only had 12 cookies. So if I went faster, the record could have only been 12 because I only had 12 cookies to eat. And my co-host at the time was like, wait, how many cookies did you eat today? And I'm like, doesn't matter. So, and it's like, how many calories is that? And I'm like, it doesn't matter. But again, it does matter. It does matter.
Do you remember that old commercial? It was like Mother Nature is watching, or Mother Nature's, what is it? What is that line? It's like Mother Nature knows. I don't know.
Was that for the margarine commercial?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I can't remember that now.
And that's what I picture is just a woman looking at you and being like, your body knows you ate those cookies.
I'm just going to tell you something right now. I'm going to peel back the curtain. I don't know if you're going to like this, Emily. But you can blame Adam. Adam says Oreo cream is primary shortening and sugar, not good for digestion.
I know. And I have been kind of, aside from a cupcake on my birthday, I haven't been in crazy sugar craving mode or anything like that. But I saw these cookies and I was like, I don't know why this was a challenge to myself. It was like, you don't like Oreos. You should find a flavor of Oreos that you do like. I don't know why that was important to me. For somebody dieting and wanting to lose weight, I should have just let it be. But I found these lemon thin ones that doesn't give my husband heartburn, because chocolate gives my husband heartburn. So
He is a delicate flower. He is.
he is. He's like a little hibiscus. I love him, but
It's so funny because he has a very small, I guess, window of food or food things that he eats.
Yeah.
Right. And then if he does eat chocolate, he gets heartburn. I mean, a delicate flower.
chocolate and peanut butter. And of course, his favorite things are Reese's peanut butter cups. So I found these and I was like, try them. But he had heartburn as well. And I think it's the sugar. It's got to be the sugar.
All right. I'm sorry. I have to take a tangent here because, yes, I was supposed to take on the I Shake My Head girls in an Oreo challenge. And I'm just going to tell you right now, they chickened out. Just so you know that. Because they knew. They knew. All right. So, and the other thing is Oreos, if for a packaged cookie or a cookie made by somebody else that's not homemade, Oreos are my favorite. So when you said you didn't like Oreos, I was like, yeah. How do you not like Oreo cookies? I mean, they're just so good, but okay, I get it.
You know what happened? I used to like them. And then in my senior year of high school, I took an anatomy and physiology class, and we had a really long section about nutrition. And as soon as the teacher told me what went into Oreos, and he's like, those cookies are made with lard, right? And for some reason, that turned me off completely to Oreos for a really long time.
I got it. Okay. So, yeah. You know what? What did that to me? There was another food that someone told me what it was, and I was like, oh, why did you tell me that?
Yeah, they kind of ruined it for me. And what's funny is I'm sure we eat lard a lot more often, but the fact that I knew that it was specifically in Oreos, I was like, ew.
Well, shortening is lard. Crisco is lard. So
I know, but when you call it shortening, it's a much nicer sounding word than lard.
That's why they named Scrapple instead of everything but the squeal from a pig. All right. So then you found out about the cookie, and then anything else that was just the cookie thing was your week, or?
I'm doing yoga. Oh, I got to my 100th day in a row of doing yoga.
Wow, that's definitely worth a.
Yeah. And it's now one of those things that my body lets me know, like, hey, we haven't done yoga in about 18 hours. We're going to be sore if you don't. It's funny, like, you're sore and yet your body is telling you need to do yoga. So as soon as I do yoga and I hear all the cracks, I hear everything crack. And the thing I love about yoga the most, and I've said this before, is that it doesn't seem like a punishment exercise. So every time I would exercise before, it was, okay, I ate this many calories. I need to burn this many calories off. And it was sort of like, go to your room and think about what you've done sort of exercise. But for me, yoga is more like, hey, let's feel every single muscle in our body and be grateful for what it does and feel the strength. And it's amazing. I've actually been able to, after 100 days, really see my progress. I know I'm going deeper into poses. I'm bending and stretching further than I used to be able to do. I used to have a real problem sitting on the floor with my legs completely straight out in front of me and bending over and touching my toes. I couldn't do that for a really long time. And I'm finally to the point where I can get two little fingers like right over the top of the front toe. And it seems like such a small victory, but when you're actually doing it and you feel all those muscles in your calves and your thighs and your hips and like trying to move your belly to a point where it's not actually the thing that's hindering you. It was really satisfying for me to be able to do that. And then there are some poses that used to be my least favorite to do. I used to hate the chair pose where you're standing up and you're sitting almost on an invisible chair and you're strengthening your thigh muscles. And it's really hard. And I used to hate it. But I started pushing myself and being like, okay, let's just do it for one breath today. That's all we have to do. Just one breath and I'll be happy. And then I've gotten to the point where I've gotten it to 5 breaths. And now I'm going deeper with my squat. And it's so cool to actually see that progress and be aware of that progress, because I've been doing it for so long that there is that gap between starting doing yoga and being like, wow, they asked me to touch my toes and I am nowhere near my toes at this point.
I get that. And you said, how you sat with your feet straight out and was able to, I haven't been able to do that in this millennium, to be quite honest with you. I mean, that's fantastic. And the funny thing about that is that also with dieting is like when we first start doing it, it's like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. But then the more that we get into it, you see those little incremental changes and it's not as hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. I mean, I really do have to add I need to add some kind of exercise. I wanted to start walking. I've been trying to do some walk, but what happens with me is the more I walk, the worse the knees get. And then I can't walk. Like there's times where like I wanted to make it where I could start walking and then try to build on that. But it just seems like with my knees the way they are right now, that if I try any kind of continue to walk, it gets worse. The pain gets worse and worse. So maybe yoga or maybe, weight training, upper body weight training or something like that. But got to do something.
Do you still have the membership to the gym where you could swim in the pool?
Now, you know what? That lapse. I guess I could get that back. I should get that back. But then it's...
Well, just because it would be better on your knees.
Yeah, I can now. I can, I actually could do it now. It would be better on my knees. And it wouldn't be bad. It's just the whole thing of it's the process. It's the process of putting on the bathing suit. My lower legs they look horrible. And then just going in there and doing it. But, I got to do something. So that's what I got to do.
Jennifer in the chat room recommends get back to the stretching. I know, if nothing else, the stretching.
That's true.
That's true. Okay, actually, I'll give everyone listening and watching a challenge. If you're listening to this right now, no matter what you're doing, where you are, just stretch. Just stretch your arms up. There's your challenge. There we go. Just stretch them up. Take a deep breath. And there you go.
I think I've told everybody I made up a yoga pose, and I do it every day in the morning. Do you remember what that is? I didn't tell you? Yes, it's the one I've made up. It's called Fat Guy Putting on Socks. That's the one I do every day. Trying to get it over the last toe. Yep, that's that one. Or a fat guy putting on shoes. That's a stretch. Really, really gets those hammies.
Well, I remember that with being pregnant, and I was just looking. I'm like, I will not buy shoes or have shoes that aren't slip-on. I think I lived in my Uggs because... Actually, weirdly with Uggs, because they're boots, you didn't have to bend down as far, aside from putting your foot in. But to pull them up, it was just, they're boots. They're already kind of halfway up my shin. And I remember being pregnant and being like, I'm not even wearing socks. Nope. No. Just these Uggs, and thank God they're fur-lined. And then, as soon as I was done with that pregnancy, I threw those Uggs away. I was like, these are disgusting. Because no socks. So, and I asked my husband at some point, I was doing it in the living room next to him. And I was like, do you think you could do yoga? And at the time I was kind of in a V shape. So I had my legs in the air and my torso in the air and my butt on the ground. I was holding my legs, and he looks at me. He's like, the fuck are you thinking? No, I can't do that. Because his back is bad. But it's funny because I can talk to him about yoga and my progress of it. And he's just sitting there nodding. He's like, that's how I used to feel about hockey. It's like you go and do it every day, and the fun of it is the challenge. And he's like, yeah. So I think I'm getting him nostalgic for hockey again.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I used to like to play football and baseball and basketball after work, and we used to play racquetball. I played in racquetball tournaments, So we used to do it.
Really?
Yeah, I used to play in racquetball tournaments. And then what happens is you wear your body out. Well, I did anyhow. And then you just, from there, as you get older, because I'm a man of a certain age, as you get older, you just can't do those things anymore. But I really did. I used to love playing sports and being active. So in my week this week, I have to go next week back to the dietitian. And the dietitian said to me, hey, listen, all you have to do is stay under 2,000 calories. And that's a lie, because I've been under 2,000 calories.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing half of what I was doing before. So then what I said was, okay, I'll just stay under 2,000 calories. Now, I would imagine maybe I'm leaking over 2,000. I don't know that. But the other thing they said is they want you to eat the first thing in the morning. So I have been doing that. The problem with that is if you try, for me, usually by then, I'm done eating by 12 o'clock. That's a long stretch of time to be awake and not being able to eat anything. So then at night I was like, well, I still have 700 calories left. I can still eat something. So then I would eat something late at night. And I really do believe that it has stalled me. And I'm not sure why. You think about it. If you stay under 2,000 calories and your body's at this size and it has to burn so many calories, you should lose 2 pounds a week. And it's just, I mean, I really kind of haven't really been watching my carb count because I was just watching calories. And again, I think that when, someone is my size, I think that any kind of starchy carbs is just a weight loss killer. I find that out.
Yeah.
So, I got on the scale today, and then when I came down here, I was grumpy. Spoiler. So then when I came down here and I started doing some work, and then, as I'm getting ready to do the show here, I'm just like, hey, now what are we going to do? And I think it's time to go back to the basics. I think I'm going to go back to the intermittent fasting, starting at 12. I don't care because I'm not losing weight now. And I don't know the keto diet. I don't know if I can do the keto diet, but I think I'm just going to stay away from starchy foods like breads, pasta, baked potato. We have to talk about the baked potato.
We do have to talk about the potato, my potato thing last night.
Yes. So I just think that I'm going to start doing that. I think I'm okay. No, I don't think. I know more processed food leaked into my diet because, well, number one, I need to do some grocery shopping. I just haven't had a chance to do that yet, and that doesn't even make any sense because all I have to do is order it and they bring it to me because I'm that lazy of a guy. I don't know why people. I honestly don't know why people still go to a grocery store.
I go because it gets me out of the house. To be honest, I've thought about ordering, but I also like going to the store and seeing what they have. And also, I'm more likely to buy vegetables if I'm right in front of them and I see them rather than trusting somebody else to pick out my vegetables. I'm so picky.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with that because I get them to get cucumbers, green peppers. I've never had a bad anything. Usually, honestly, when they pick them, I usually get the good stuff. Like it's like, get a good baked potato or something. Not one that looks like it's all crinkled and twisted. I'd have to do that. And I have to but I think it's just, going back to basics, going back to the intermittent fasting, going back to, ever since I started going to the dietitian, I should be further along than where I was. And I'm not. And again, I don't feel like I really don't feel like I don't feel like I cheated this week. I was under calorie count the whole week. I didn't do anything. I didn't binge at all this week. There was no binge for a whole week. So that's a plus. But as we get into when we go to the weight loss thing, I don't know. Disappointed, I would say. All right. Let's talk about the potatoes. So you, at 36 years old, has never made a baked potato. I find that hard to believe.
I've never made it because I haven't wanted a baked potato badly enough to wait for an hour. And I feel like that, as soon as you said the hour thing, I was like, that's why I've never made a baked potato because it takes a freaking hour. I've made a baked sweet potato and I've made it in the microwave.
Okay.
But that's it. And for some reason, I thought a baked sweet potato would be easier because it's naturally softer. So I don't know.
Well, I love baked sweet potatoes, but I don't like them. There's a difference between a baked potato and a baked sweet potato in the oven and one in the microwave. They will get softer, but there's nothing like a good oven baked potato. For some reason, I don't know what it is about the heat or about the microwave or how it changes. Like an egg, an egg cooked on over fire versus an egg microwave. It's got a different texture and a different taste. It really does. So, I mean, you can do it that way.
Annette put an amazing recipe I want in the chat. Baked sweet potato with goat cheese on top rather than butter and melted cheese. Oh my gosh, I love goat cheese. I never thought to put it on a potato. That sounds amazing.
Now, see, with me, I love baked potatoes, and to me, they're like my candy. They're like my treat. Like, I'll bake them, put them in the refrigerator, and I'll just eat them like they were an ice cream cone. I'll just eat the whole thing like an ice cream cone.
I think I need a graphic now of you with an ice cream cone with a potato on top.
I'm just sitting there watching TV, holding a sweet potato, and just eating it down to nothing. Yeah. To me, it's nature's perfect food, to be quite honest with you, because it's filling, it's sweet, and I love them. I do love them.
I actually did see, so you were talking about staying away from carbs. I did see when I started intermittent fasting, I was trying to find all the videos I could on YouTube about it. And YouTube you have to sift through a lot of stuff to get actual value out of YouTube sometimes. But there was one YouTube video where a woman was trying to lose weight. And I think she was doing keto, and she didn't have any sugar in her diet, and she was so miserable. And finally she was fed up and she was like, that's it. I miss potatoes. I want to make potatoes. And she started doing just intermittent fasting, and she had a potato every single day during her window, and she lost weight that way. And I think the title of the video, and I'll find it and I'll put it in the show notes, and it's like, I lost weight eating a potato every single day. So I always have that in mind when I feel guilty about having a potato, but I'm like, no, the skins are actually really good for you. And I'm one, I don't cut the skins off when I make mashed potatoes. I love the skins.
Oh, yeah?
That's my favorite part.
Okay. All right. So Annette puts in here that sweet potatoes, the skin is really good for fiber. And also, I didn't know this, sweet potatoes is good for inflammation. And trust me, if that's the case, I'll have a case of them here today.
Did you know yams come from a specific area that's actually really hard to get yams? And for the most part, grocery stores just get sweet potatoes, and they label the ones that are smaller, I guess. They'll label them as yams, or maybe if they're a different color.
I didn't know that.
Yams, but we don't really get real yams.
Well, then
here.
why not just say sweet potatoes? What's the difference?
I know. I don't know.
Honestly, I'd be honest with you. I would rather buy a sweet potato than a yam.
Right? I know.
Yeah, I don't get that. Before this all started, there was, I don't know, a couple years ago, I had lost about 120 pounds. And basically the way I did it was I would eat sweet potatoes and chicken and Brussels sprouts. I ate them for dinner every night. And what I would do is I would bake the chicken. I would put the sweet potato in there at the same time. And then Brussels sprouts, what I did I would just put them in there with butter and bake them too. And they would all come out. It was like on a cookie sheet.
That's another thing I found this past week were recipes that was just a baking sheet, that you put everything on a baking sheet and you put it in the oven. And it does meats and vegetables and your starches. A lot of them had potatoes in it. And I showed my husband, I'm like, look at this. Oh my gosh. And he's looking at it. He's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I found the perfect thing. But of course you don't like it. But I'm going to make it anyway because it's one dish. It's a lot of chopping. But I'd rather do a lot of chopping, I think, than do a lot of dishes later.
Yeah, and the other thing is if you get parchment paper, you put parchment paper there and you don't mess up your cookie sheets. You just rinse them off. I
use parchment paper all the time. I reuse it sometimes if we're not doing anything with oil or vegetables or something. But if we're like cooking, I don't know, something microwave, like chicken strips, the frozen chicken strips, I will use that parchment paper until it's disintegrated.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I never thought to use them over and over again. All right, so you know me, I'm really into dude cooking. So maybe I should try some dude cooking this week. I'll get some vegetables, I'll get some chicken, some sweet potatoes, put them on the pan, and I'll Insta-story them.
Yes, put them on your... Oh my gosh, I cannot believe... So I put this up on my Instagram stories about my potatoes. Because my husband, the whole reason we're talking about potatoes so much is I bought a bag of potatoes because I needed a potato for a recipe, but when you go to Aldi, you can't just buy one potato. You have to buy the whole bag of them. So I had a bag of potatoes, and I'm like, I'll use this eventually. And I forgot to cross it off the list. So when my husband went to Aldi a few days later, it was still on the list, and he comes home, and now I'm like, oh, good, we have 2 bags of potatoes. I'm like, we don't go through potatoes that often. So I put that on Instagram, and one of my friends, Bonnie, she sent me a message and she was like, oh, you should donate those to a food pantry. They're always looking for potatoes. And that didn't even occur to me. For me to donate to a food pantry, I'm always thinking canned goods, things that won't go bad. And she's like, no, potatoes, definitely. They will be very grateful.
Yeah, potatoes have a long shelf life too. So, and that says the big ones, I guess we're talking about sweet potatoes here, are good for chopping up smaller with a little drizzle of oil and pre seasoning. What is pre seasoning? For us,
peri seasoning. That's interesting.
I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that. We'll have to look that up.
I don't know either. I know. And that was the thing. I put up a question on my Instagram story. I was like, what's your favorite recipe for potatoes? Because honestly, for me, I just roast them or mash them. And mashing is like, I love eating mashed potatoes. I hate making them.
I love mashed potatoes. Absolutely love mashed potatoes.
But everybody gave me the recipes. And then I was hearing about things that I had never heard of before. And of course, my phone is upstairs, so I can't check. But there was one that was a Danish meal, and it's kind of like potato flatbread. That looks really good. That you roll up into something that looks kind of blincy. And
well, you know what? Now I'm a big fan of poutine.
Oh, yeah.
That's I never even knew what that. I didn't even know that existed, but.
And that's the thing. I've been trying to make French fries too. And I'm not good at it. I'm not good at making French fries from real potatoes at all. They come out like potatoes. They're roasted potatoes for the most part, and not in a way that you could pick them up and eat them. It's like you still need a fork. So it's a seasoning similar to Nando's. I don't even know what Nando's is. I'm such a novice in the kitchen. Right. I really am.
What do you think about an air fryer?
I feel like we would have gotten it if we had counter space.
I know, it's the same thing. It's like the Instapot, the toaster, the crock pot. Now I'm going to put an air fryer there. My kitchen's not that big.
I know. And the Instant Pot, as much as I love it, and for how many things I can do with it, I feel like I make the same thing in it all the time. Maybe once a month, I'll make the chicken and rice and vegetables in it. And I'm like, oh, that's so good. I should use this more often. But then it's like, I just made chicken and rice and vegetables. I don't want it again. I want something else.
Yeah, I really do believe for me, it comes back to centering, focusing, and making meals and trying to make them more. And again, I just believe that I just have to really just set my mind to it where I'm not going to do it. Oh, and you talked about Aldi's. Aldi's now in my area delivers. They actually deliver.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And they have the app on your phone, so you could just go boop, 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 and they deliver for free. They bring it to your house for free. Take that, Walmart.
Oh, yeah. I love Aldi so much. I think we have that too. We have it delivered. But they always have this one aisle, which is like seasonal fun things that I love going down that I don't think I can get on the app. And I think right now it's all gardening stuff. So I bought a bag of bulbs I want to plant and a shovel and a pair of gloves because I don't garden, but hey, they got
New Jersey
me.
has the best tomatoes in the world. I don't care what anybody says. I'll fight you if you say you can find a better tomato than a good Jersey tomato. And so I was thinking about like having like 3 plants right on the back deck here. I tried this last year, and what happens is I got to fight the squirrels because the squirrels come up and they're like, I'll take that tomato. And I'm like, hey, that's my tomato. So, and then I go to myself, I can go right around to the farmer's market and get a whole big giant basket for like $5 of tomatoes. So I'm like, why would I even bother for $5? Why would I even bother trying to grow my own?
It's still going to be the most delicious tomato because you've watched it from a little seedling.
Yeah, but then I got to fight the squirrels for them. That's not fun. It's like I come out in the morning and I see the squirrel and he's got a hold of the tomato. He sees me. He's like, oh, the gig is up, and off he goes.
I would love a comic strip of John versus the squirrel. Just a recurring, the squirrel finds different ways to best you every week. And you're just like, you maybe have a catchphrase at the end of,
oh, that
dag nabbit squirrel.
Ooh, that rascally squirrel. Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
So Annette says it's like a chili seasoning. Oh. So that would be good.
Okay.
I was talking to a few other people about their recipes, and someone was talking about Lowry seasoning salt. And I was like, that's right. That would be amazing on potatoes. And when I was going through the whole Trim Healthy Mama thing, I had a huge container of Lowry seasoning salt. And this was when I had to look at everything in my kitchen to see if it had sugar in it. And I was heartbroken that Lowry seasoning salt had sugar in it, and I had to throw it away. And ever since, I'm just like, I'm not on that diet anymore. I can have sugar. I should go get some more of that stuff. But they don't sell it, at least in Aldi. They don't sell it in a small container. It's like in that giant, big, tall container of spice.
Yeah, why can't you just get a normal size? Like, same thing with salt. You get a thing of salt from Morton's, that cylinder of salt. It lasts a lifetime. Yeah. Here's your lifetime thing of salt. For me, anyhow, it lasts forever. I don't really put a lot of salt on my food. I don't salt things. I don't know why. Just maybe steak. That's about it. That's all I'll really put salt on. A little bit of pepper, not much salt.
I think I use more salt than maybe health advocates would want me to use. But in my mind, I justify it by saying it's okay. It's Himalayan sea salt and it's good for you and it's a good mineral that you need. And plus, it just makes everything taste so much better. Because I grew up, my mom was Irish, not 100% Irish, but she came from an Irish household. And for anybody who knows Irish cooking, it's very bland. And it was also considered very rude. Like the salt and pepper in my house was on the table as a decoration. it was considered very rude if you took it and put it on your food because it meant that whoever cooked it didn't do a good enough job. So that's how I was brought up. So now that I can put salt on my own food, and I almost relish telling my husband, it's okay if you put salt on it, because I'm like, I'm not living under those oppressive rules anymore that I can't put salt on my food.
Well, the thing about it is, to be honest with you, you're right. They didn't cook it well. So they should learn that if you're putting salt on, maybe throw a little salt in it when they're cooking it.
Yeah, so everything was very bland. Like, I really didn't know what spices were used for. So when Adam was talking about Trader Joe's everyday seasoning and 21 seasoning blend, I'm like, 21 seasonings? Oh my good, that's too much. That's too many. How can you have so many flavors all at once?
I say, yeah. I'm a big fan of spices, but I mean, like, salt's not a big thing for me. All right. Did you know, because I looked earlier while you were getting ready to come in here, that we have 20 comments for Winning Wednesdays? I think that might be a record.
It might be. We hit the 200 mark. I think maybe last week in our group.
We've been over 200 before, but we've had some people come in and leave.
Yeah,
they came in,
sense.
Looked around, and said, "Hey, you know what? We don't like all this fun. We don't like all this community."
And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. We talk a lot about weight loss, so it's fine.
All right. You know what time it is?
Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday, Winning Wednesday.
Do. I'll sing along. Yes, our Winning Wednesday post will start off, Anna, sticking to my calories every single day. That's fantastic.
Star says, I lost some body fat. The scale is still telling me lies, but
Lies!
They're all lies. But the clothes and the belly is saying, hey, girl, look at you.
I love that. Zoe, new member in the group. Hi, all. New member here. My Wednesday win is having control over my out of control evening eating for the week. That is a big win. That's huge.
I wish I could get there with you, Zoe, to be quite honest with you. That is my biggest problem, is the nighttime. When I get done here and I go up to watch TV, the thing I've been using is the sugar-free Jell-O. That has really, I've been using that just to stop me from eating peanut butter and stuff like that. Ingrid, signed up for my first 5K in 2 years. Took a lot for me to sign up, but did it. The 5K on Mother's Day weekend. That's great.
Yeah.
There's my ta-da.
You know what else I'm noticing? I'm noticing all the hearts and the likes on all these comments. And it's like, I try to do them when we're doing them live. So now I'm trying to put all the hearts on there to add to them, because it's like 6s and 7s and 8s and 5s. And oh my gosh, everybody in this group is so supportive. I love you guys. Erica says, trying to start a business as a thrift shop teacher, stylist, and personal shopper. This past week I asked, and I am granted the opportunity to speak at my bariatric clinic. I've gone from a 28 to a 12, occasionally 10s. Woohoo! I'll be sharing my journey and giving tips and tricks on navigating our ever-changing wardrobes and body configurations on a budget. I'm so excited to share my love of thrifting and helping people. Hoping I will be able to take the talk to multiple clinics. That's so fantastic.
That's a great idea. And that is...
Wait a minute, Erica. So I follow her on Instagram, and she posts her thrifty finds, and she compares them to actual photographs of models wearing these designer clothes, and they are spot on. So Erica, congratulations. That's so fun to watch. You know what? I'll put a link to her Instagram in the show notes.
Yeah, because I want to follow. I might be following. I don't know. Deborah says, adopted this girl. Steps have skyrocketed. And she has a little poochie in there. So I guess she's walking the dog. Walking the dog.
Walking the dog. Julianne said, I can walk downstairs better with a new knee. That is an accomplishment right there.
Wayne says, trying out some pre-made delivery dinners from Freshly. My wife and I do not like to cook. We haven't tried those other meals in a box service, but it was still too much trouble, and we would go back to fast food and restaurant. Freshly meals are already cooked and only have to be microwaved for about 3 minutes and then put on a plate to make them look pretty. Anyway, they are very fresh and tasted really good and have built-in portion control, and don't come with a diet soda, so we are forced to drink water or whatever's in the house, at least for dinners. Congratulations, Waynes. You know what? Maybe Freshly would be something I should look into.
That's true, because microwavable. I'm not a huge fan of microwave meals, but I think the fact that it's fresher might make it taste better for me.
I know. And then who knew? You didn't even know you had a potato setting on your microwave.
I didn't know. Sarah, who's in the group, I posted the text between you and me in the group about the potato. And Sarah was like, oh, you could just microwave it. Use the potato button. I'm like, there's not a potato button. And I go over to my microwave and I'm like, oh, there's a potato button. Brendan says, gave a heap of clothes to charity because they were way too big now. Oh my gosh, I did that too, and it feels so good. You know, at first I was just like, oh, but I love this shirt. But then as soon as you put it on and you look at it on you, you're like,
That looks horrible.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Brooklyn said, in April, I lost 8 pounds and 5.5 inches. I hope not in height. That would be horrible.
No, that was another thing I did, actually. I was on the scale maybe Sunday or something, and it wasn't moving, and it was actually going up a bit. And so instead of getting all mad at myself, I went and I got the tape measure, and it was the first time I had actually done measurements in a few months, actually, and I lost a considerable number of inches, especially around my hips. And this is interesting with women. I remember learning this after you give birth. Well, you know, I'm still 2 years after giving birth, and my hips are considerably bigger than they were before giving birth because they separate, and my hips are starting to go down. Like, that's actually where I'm seeing a lot of my inches go down, are my hips, because it's like, oh, you don't have a child in here. You're not going to push anything out of there for a while. So
We don't have that problem, us dudes.
Elaine says, so my birthday was yesterday, and on my lunch hour, I walked out to my car and my husband left me bags from my favorite clothing store. Yes, a man that shops for me. A pair of capris he got me were a size 12, and I was iffy, but they fit. Woohoo!
That's a keeper right there. A man that will go out and shop and get clothes for a woman. I would never do that. I would never get a T-shirt that had a saying on it. Maybe.
And not because you don't want to do that for your lovely lady friend. It's probably because you don't want to get yelled at if you buy the wrong thing or in the wrong size or...
Here's what's worse is that I don't think she would tell me that it was ugly as sin and just never wear it. And I would know that, oh, look at that. Every time I would see it, it would be, oh, look at that failure. That would be horrible. Roxana says, I've cooked and bought lunch every day, feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Shane says, back on the diet wagon and going strong. Also haven't missed a workout since I started back Monday. Small victory, but I will take it right now. Yay! And I will say this, Shane also posted in the group, and we all understand what's going on when you fall off the diet wagon and you're trying to get back on. And I love that he posted in the group saying that the post in the group inspired him to get back on the wagon, because there are many, many, many chances to get back on.
Trust me, I know. I think I wore out a knee climbing back up on and falling off and climbing back up on the wagon, to be quite honest with you. All right.
Yeah.
So
I'm so proud of everybody, by the way. These Winning Wednesdays, they are one of my favorite parts of the show, actually. I love it.
Absolutely. Lisa says, don't buy Sam clothes. I know. But she has very, really good taste in clothes, though. She's got style.
Well, I talked last week about how my husband saw a dress on the rack and found my size and held it up and was like, hey, try this on. And it's now my new favorite dress. Like, I cannot wait to go to a wedding in a few months so that I can wear this dress. And I'm trying to think, like, where else can I wear this dress? Can I invite myself places just to wear the dress?
Did you ever think about using do they even do this anymore? Or do they even make these anymore? Like, instead of just sweatpants or regular pants, or just doing the house dress thing, wouldn't that be easier for women?
I do the house dress thing in the summer. I buy those just t-shirt, tank top dresses, and I wear them around, and it's basically like wearing nothing. So I wear them around, and it's so comfortable.
I'm saying it doesn't sound like a bad deal, to be quite honest with you.
I know.
All right. Well, you know what is that time? You know what time it is.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for the moment you have all been waiting for. It's time for the weigh-in.
All right, since this is episode 52, which is I guess basically this is our year anniversary, but we've been doing it longer than a year. I know that.
Yeah, because we had to take a few weeks off. So,
All right, so that means it's an even, and my name is an even number of letters, so I go first. And I am flat. I did not lose any weight. And I feel like I should have lost it. I should have lost two. Yes. So don't get me wrong. It's better than gaining, but I felt like I should have lost. And I got on the scale and I was like, really? Come on.
I
Damn
wonder,
it.
whenever we gain weight, we can usually pinpoint something, but there's something about staying stagnant when you're doing the exact same thing that you've been doing that is just, I feel like it messes with our mind more. Almost, because at least when we gain weight, we know why. We have a reason why, and we know how to fix it. When we're saying stagnant, it's like, well, what do we do now?
Yeah, I guess if I go back and I was like going over my week, I just think maybe it's just more processed food, probably more fast food. But even like with my fast food, I thought I was making better choices. But who knows? You never know. To be honest with you, I guess a lot of the times I would go to Wendy's and get the chili because I figured that was the best. So maybe Wendy's chili has I don't know. Maybe it has a lot of calories in it.
I don't think it does. I mean, even when I was on the crazy restrictive diet, I could have Wendy's chili.
Yeah, I just thought.
And sometimes and it's beans too. It should go right through you.
Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. Well,
The bathroom episode.
right. And then the other thing is too that maybe for the fact that, I just haven't had much sleep, on Tuesday night.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Your sleeping has been all messed up because of construction outside your house.
Tuesday night, they knocked a wire off out here, and in the middle of us broadcasting, all of a sudden, boop, I was sitting in the dark. I thought I had a stroke. I'm sitting there, all of a sudden, everything's dark. I was like, am I still alive? Is this it? But apparently, it was just somebody knocking out the electricity. Yep. So, all right. So that's me. All right, young lady.
I am down a pound this week. I'll take it.
That's great.
Those Oreo thins were delicious. They were, but I have a feeling that has something to do with not being down my usual 2 pounds too. Because I looked at the scale today and I was like, well, that's a fun number. Okay, great. And all of a sudden I was like, but those Oreos, you had all those Oreos. Maybe if you didn't have those Oreos, it would have been down further. And I had to be like, shut
It's
up.
a pound.
No. We're happy with our 1
Yeah,
pound.
I mean, even if I was down a pound, I would have been like, okay, it's a pound. And if you do that every week, that's 50 pounds a year.
Yeah.
So that's nothing to sneeze at. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. But anyhow, so that's it. That's our week.
That is our week. I hope everybody else had a good week. And I hope that it's Monday when you're listening to this. So I hope this inspires you to make good choices this week.
That's right. And if you would like to join us in our secretly private Facebook group, where we have a lot of great time and great discussions, we would love to have you. Go to hatetoWait.com/Facebook. Join us. And we'll be back here next week. And hopefully, I'm going to try some yoga and some dude cooking. And I'll put that up on Instagram. So we'll see what happens next week.
And we'll have links to all of those. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow John on Instagram. All of those links will be on the show notes. So if you're listening in your podcast app, you can either click on that show information tab, swipe up, swipe left sometimes. The show notes will be there, and you can click those links right in your phone so you can follow us there.
That's right, because Emily does a fantastic job on show notes. She does.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.